Now that you have a good understanding of installing and configuring Nginx, one of the final configuration tasks is that of making more functionality available, or in other words, adding new Nginx modules. In this lesson then we'll see how to add modules to an existing Nginx install by rebuilding the source, but more specifically do so with a dynamic module. Dynamic modules being modules we can load selectively from the Nginx configuration, unlike static modules which is always loaded. Before we start, note that adding standard modules is exactly the same as adding dynamic modules, as is upgrading Nginx itself to a newer version. Just something to keep in mind. As I mentioned then, in order to add new modules to Nginx, we'll have to rebuild Nginx from source, meaning as with the installation section of the course, we'll need the source code. I still have the original source I downloaded right here in the root user's home directory, including that extracted directory containing the actual source code. I'll change into this directory, this being where we originally built this install from, and it's perfectly reusable. Of course, at this point, should Nginx have released a newer version, you could also download that and build the newer version instead, which is all there is to upgrading Nginx. Step 1 to rebuilding Nginx then is making sure we don't change any of the existing configuration, which we can very easily get by running Nginx with a capital V flag. There, this being the configuration with which the current install was built. So immediately copy that, as we'll want to use the exact same configuration, only adding our new modules. Having copied that, the next step is going to be adding our new module to this configuration. To see a list of modules available with this source code download then, we can run configure in the current directory with a help flag, which lists out all of these modules and flags available to configure Nginx with. And if we scroll up a bit, we see a few of these available modules that ends with equals dynamic, these being dynamic modules. We can also filter this output to only show the dynamic modules, run that same command, but this time filter it through grep, looking for only lines containing dynamic. And there we have it. Not many, but still a few to choose from. I'll add this HTTP image filter module to demonstrate. So paste the original configuration command we copied a minute ago, and simply add to this the module flag as it's listed here, in order to have this module compiled into Nginx, with that equals dynamic string, telling Nginx to compile this as a dynamic module. Now, whilst running this as is will be fine, we've configured our Nginx install to have all its configuration files at /etc/nginx, meaning to have these dynamic modules at that same location, which is going to make enabling them much easier, we also have to specify the module's path, which we can do by adding a flag modules path, setting that to /etc/nginx, so where the configuration files are located, /modules. Run this, and very quickly the configuration fails. HTTP image filter module requires the GD library, which is an image processing module for Linux, a dependency of this image filter module. Clear this, install that module via apt by running apt-get install libgd dev. I'll forward through this, answering yes all the way through, and done. Try configuring the Nginx source again, fast forward, and this time it works, confirming all our configuration paths, including that new modules directory. Compile the newly configured source code by running make, as we did during the installation. Fast forward again, as this is quite a long process. And once that's done, run make install, which installs the newly compiled source over the existing Nginx install. Note that any existing configuration files are left untouched, so nothing to worry about there. Check the current build's configuration, and this now includes our new module and the module's path. Reload Nginx to make sure everything is fine. Check its status, and all good. So having this new image filter module installed, let's try and use it in our configuration. The obvious candidate being thumb.png. Over to the configuration file, I'll add a new exact match location for thumb.png, meaning we can apply image filters to this image with certainty inside this location. And if we check the documentation for this new module, http:/image_filter, we see a number of arguments accepted on this image filter directive for manipulating image data. I'll add image_filter rotate, rotating thumb.png by 180 degrees, so flipping it upside down. Save this, and before reloading Nginx, as I know this isn't going to work, check the configuration syntax with Nginx and a T flag. Unknown directive, image_filter, that directive we just added. This should of course be available as we've added the HTTP image filter module, but remember we added it as a dynamic module, meaning that module is not being loaded into Nginx by default. The module itself exists in the module's path directory we defined. List the contents of the directory, etc nginx modules, and there it is, modules having a common .so extension. So to enable this module and have Nginx loaded, we can add to the configuration, in the main context, load_module, the path to that module, which is why I said having it in the same directory as the Nginx configuration simplifies loading it. modules/http image filter module.so relative to this nginx.conf file. Save, check the configuration is okay again, which it is this time round, reload, and in the browser when I refresh, thumb.png is served at 180 degree rotation, meaning our new image filter module is working as expected. As you can see then, adding to, upgrading, or even making changes to the Nginx installation is extremely simple and can be done without any downtime whatsoever.